Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to dive into something that honestly affects pretty much everyone, but is so rarely understood: the invisible patterns that can keep people financially trapped for their entire lives.
Yeah, I know. That's a pretty heavy statement to start with, right? But what our sources are telling us is that for millions of people, this is just reality. And the reason why isn't what we're usually told. And look, it has absolutely nothing to do with a lack of effort or talent. In fact, many of the hardest working people out there are the ones who are struggling the most. So, what gives?
It's because they're following a system. A script, really. And here's the kicker: it was never actually designed to make them rich. It's this subtle, almost invisible set of rules that people follow without even realizing it's steering them away from real financial freedom.
Okay, so what is this pattern then? Let's pull back the curtain and really take a look.
You know this routine, right? For so many people, life is just this loop. You wake up, you work your tail off, you pay the bills, and you do it all over again. And you're always hoping that one day something's just gonna click. But that day, it rarely shows up.
And this right here, this gets to the absolute core of the idea. Being stuck financially, it's not just a run of bad luck. It's a pattern. It's a predictable outcome. And you know what they say? The first step to breaking any pattern is to actually see it clearly.
So, where does this whole thing even start? Well, it begins way earlier than you might think, with this simple formula for life that we're all taught is the right way to do things.
I mean, it sounds totally logical, doesn't it? Go to school, get a good job, work hard, and then you can retire. It feels safe. It feels secure. But there's a huge problem hiding in plain sight that most people never ever see.
See, this whole formula, it's engineered for one thing: stability, predictability. But here's the trade-off. It actively pushes you away from the very things you need to build wealth, like taking smart, calculated risks and jumping on opportunities. And that's the real danger, isn't it? That pursuit of safety, of comfort. Over time, it becomes a cage. It traps you, and it stops you from ever really reaching your full financial potential. Okay, so let's get specific. Let's look at the actual everyday traps that keep this invisible cage locked up tight. These are the practical ways this pattern shows up in real life. All right, trap number one, and this is the big one: trading your time for money. The vast majority of people have just one source of income, their job, and that means their earnings are tied directly to the number of hours they can punch on a clock. And here's the fundamental problem with that: you can't make more time. There are only 24 hours in a day, right? So that automatically puts a hard ceiling on your earning potential. It doesn't matter how hard you work, you will eventually hit that limit.
Okay, on to the next trap. And this one is so sneaky. It's the reason why getting a raise often doesn't actually make you feel any richer.
You've seen this happen, I'm sure. You get a raise, so what happens? Well, a nicer car seems like a good idea, a bigger apartment, maybe a new phone, more subscriptions, and suddenly all that extra money is gone. You're earning more, but you feel just as broke as before. Your financial situation hasn't improved at all. You've just inflated your lifestyle to eat up the extra cash.
And you know, this all ties back to a massive gap in our education system. Think about it. We learn all this complex stuff, right? How to solve equations, how to memorize historical facts, but the practical skills, financial literacy, how to actually make your money work for you, is almost completely left out of the picture. So we've talked about the external systems and traps, but there's an even bigger barrier. And this one, well, this one exists inside our own heads.
Fear. It's really that simple. Fear is the main thing that keeps people locked into that safe, predictable path. You've got the fear of losing money, fear of failing, the fear of just starting something new and different. The fear of the unknown can be so powerful that the certainty of that paycheck just feels so much safer than the possibility of creating real wealth.
And this is the mindset that comes out of that fear. Most people are stuck in short-term thinking. Their whole focus is on just getting through this month's bills. But here's the thing: wealth isn't built month to month. It's built slowly, consistently, over decades. It's a long-term game. Okay, so we've laid out the system, the traps, the mindset, and I know it might sound a little bleak, but this is where it gets good. This is the optimistic part. Because patterns can be broken. And that's the good news, right? This is the most empowering part of this whole thing. If staying poor is a pattern, that means it can be broken. A pattern isn't some life sentence. It's just a series of actions and beliefs. And guess what? You have the power to change both. And you absolutely do not need to be special to do it. You don't need to come from a wealthy family or wait around for some lucky break to fall into your lap. The key to breaking free is actually way more accessible than you think.
Because really, the difference between being stuck and becoming wealthy, a lot of the time, it's just a shift in your mindset. The solution starts right between your ears. It begins with questioning that old formula and just choosing to think differently, to think more like an investor and less like a consumer.
And at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. It's not about finding some secret hack or a get-rich-quick scheme. It's about understanding the rules of a game you might not have even known you were playing. So the only question left is, are you ready to stop playing by their rules and start writing your own?